Hi everyone, I'm Lauren, and today I'm going to be talking about a readathon that I'm really excited about joining, and that is the r/fantasy Book Bingo. This is a year-long readathon that takes place on the fantasy subreddit, and it's a lot of fun. It has a lot of prompts that are focused on fantasy, sci-fi, spec-fic, basically, can't happen real world kind of genres, and that's kind of my wheelhouse a little bit. This is the third year that I'll be doing the Book Bingo, and I just wanted to tell you about it and what I'll be reading for it, or at least what I probably will read for it. So there's a lot of little rules and things here and there, so I'm not going to go into too much detail on that. I'll put the link to the post all about it in the description below. But basically, the Book Bingo is a 5x5 grid, just like a bingo board. Each square has a prompt and a hard mode version of that prompt, and you just read a book to fill that prompt. There's a few restrictions on what you can read. They need to be sci-fi, fantasy, spec-fic, that kind of thing. Also, for the Book Bingo, each square has to have a unique author. So basically, you can't read 25 books all by the same author. Also, you can only reread one book for the entire bingo. But one nice thing is that you can substitute one square on the board with any other square that has appeared in previous Book Bingos, as long as it doesn't overlap with another square, so no duplicating square. There's a few other little things here and there, but for the most part, that's the gist of it. Again, I'll put the link with the full details below. But now that that's out of the way, let's just get into the prompts and what I plan to read for them. I guess I should say this might be a long one, so maybe get some tea. Like I have, because I'm kind of cold. First row, first prompt is a novel translated from its original language. The hard mode for that is one that was written by a woman. Co-author does not count. This is so easy for me. This is probably the easiest square on the bingo. I didn't have really many easy squares last year, so I'm happy that I have at least one. I read light novels, and any one of those count, because they're all translated from Japanese. So, yeah. But the one that I am probably going to read is Masho no Ko by Onofuyumi. Translates to Demon Child, apparently. I think this is like a prequel book in the 12 Kingdoms series. And this isn't even officially translated to English, but it is a fan translated into English, so I think that counts. But it also counts for hard mode, because the author is a woman. And this one is part of my 2020 series finish goals, so I'm trying to cram those in as much as I can, but I didn't do that for many of them. So the first row, second prompt, a setting featuring snow, ice, or cold. And the setting must be used for a good portion of the book. Hard mode is that the entire book takes place in this setting. So for this one, I didn't really have much that fit for the prompt. It's not like I avoid this kind of setting, it's just I haven't really reached for it, I guess. I was thinking maybe The Riddle by Alison Croghan could count, because, there's an ice setting on the front. They haven't even gotten to the ice setting yet, and I'm getting close to halfway through the book, so maybe it doesn't count, really. Kind of deceptive, isn't it? But as well, this would count as a reread for me, so I don't know if I want to use a reread right there, and especially if they're not even at the ice area, so that's kind of an iffy one. The other book I was thinking about was The Sword of Kaigen by M.L. Wang, which I know really not much about, but apparently it takes place in a cold area. I'm pretty sure it's a self-pub, and a lot of people seem to really like it, and I think it's Asian-inspired. But I might try that out and see if it's a good pick. I think it's free on Prime Reading too, so if it's super free, then, why not try that out? Other than that, I don't have any options for that off the top of my head, so we'll see how that one goes. The first row, third prompt, an optimistic SFF. The hard mode for this is not Becky Chambers, because I guess that's what a lot of people reach for this kind of thing. This is another one that was a little bit easier for me to pick up. I like lighter type, happier fantasy, I guess. But the one that I will probably put for this is Castle in the Air by Diana Wayne Jones. This is the second book in the Howl's Moving Castle series. I have absolutely no idea what happens in it because I never read the second and third book in the series, but I want to for my 2020 series goals. I know it doesn't star Howl and Sophie like in the first book, but I think they appear in it and some other shenanigans happen. So yeah, I don't know anything about it. But it should be optimistic like the first one was. The first row, fourth prompt, is a novel featuring necromancy. Pretty self-explanatory. The hard mode is the necromancer is the protagonist. So I initially thought I did not have anything that would fit for this, but then I realized that I actually do. And that is Overlord Volume 6, The Men of the Kingdom Part 2 by Kugane Maruyama. I didn't think this counted because, I don't know, I didn't think about it, but the main character in this is like this big skeleton overlord kind of guy, and this is like a very game-esque world, and so the main character has levels into necromancy, and that's his big thing, so he's apparently a necromancer, so that counts for me, I think. So this counts for hard mode as well, yeah. If the book says he's a necromancer, then I won't argue with that. The first row, fifth prompt, an ace/arrow spec fic. And then hard mode is that the protagonist has to be an ace or aromantic. This one, I'm going to be reading Network Effect by Martha Wells. This isn't out yet. This comes out in May, but this will be the latest Murderbot book, and I never thought about him as an ace or aromantic, but apparently he is. I guess that makes sense, because romantic stuff doesn't come up, and I don't think he's interested. So, yeah. Second row, first prompt, a novel featuring a ghost. Hard mode is that at least one protagonist is a ghost. I don't have much for this. Technically, Harry Potter counts because there are ghosts in it, but it definitely doesn't count for hard mode. So, and then that also would be my reread, so I'm not really sure if I want to use Harry Potter for this prompt or not. I didn't really find that many interesting options either, but what I wrote down as maybes was The Last to See Me by Mylan Dresler, and the other one was The Ghost Bride by Yangzi Chu. Again, I'll have to try those out and see how they go. They should be in my library at the very least, so yay, libraries. Second row, second prompt is a novel that features exploration. Hard mode is that the exploration is the central plot. For this one, I'll probably be reading Death Marked to the Parallel World Rhapsody, Volume 11 by Hiro Ainana. I think this volume comes out in May, so I'll be reading that pretty soon. I was going to read it anyway. This series overall has a lot of exploration because it's all about traveling this new land for the protagonist and trying out different things, looking for different things. The 11th volume in particular, though, is even more centered on exploration because in this one, the crew have arrived to what's called Labyrinth City, and it's all centered around this giant labyrinth that they want to explore and get better gear and level up and stuff. So yeah, I think this definitely counts for hard mode as well. Second row, third prompt, climate fiction. Hard mode is that it can't be post-apocalyptic. This one was really rough for me because I don't I don't think I have anything like that in my collection. So, this one I didn't really find too many interesting options. But, I mean, as long as I find one thing that's good, then it doesn't really matter how many I find. But the two that I saw that might be okay is the 5th season by N.K. Jemisin. A lot of people really love this one. I have no idea what it's really about, though, and it sounds kind of intimidating. And the other one is The Vela by Yoon-ha Lee, which, again, I know nothing about, and it's a novella, and I think I've tried something of Yoon-ha Lee's and I didn't really like it, but I might be mixing her up with somebody else, maybe. Like the Dragon Pearl, didn't really like it. I don't know. So those are the two options I have right now. I might read something different depending on how those two go when I sample them. Second row, 4th prompt, a novel with a color in the title. Hard mode is it can't be black, red, gray, or white. This one ended up being really easy for me. I plan to read Gathering Blue by Louis Lowry. This has blue in the title, so it's hard mode, yay! And I'm planning to read this for my 2020 goals as well, so I'm going to be reading it anyway. Might as well make it count. Second row, 5th prompt, any r/fantasy book club of the month or r/fantasy read-along book. Hard mode is you must read a current selection of either a book club or read-along and participate in the discussion. I'm not going to be doing hard mode because I don't like doing that kind of thing. I don't know. I just don't feel like it. But I want to read The Dragon Reborn by Robert Jordan, which was a read-along that they did through the Wheel of Time a long time ago, it looks like. And they stopped at The Dragon Reborn. So, hey, The Dragon Reborn's there, and that's the next one I have to read. So, good timing on that, I guess. Oops, I forgot to hold it up. I forgot I had it. Oh, no. I forgot I had The Dragon Reborn. Hey, look, I'm going to be reading this. This is The Dragon Reborn. Hey, 3rd book and 2020 goals. Yeah! Third row, 1st prompt, a self-published SFF novel. And hard mode is the self-pubbed, has fewer than 50 ratings on Goodreads. I have a few books that count for this, but what I probably will read is Age of Legend by Michael J. Sullivan. This is the 4th book in the Legends of the First Empire series, which I have not started, so I don't really know what it's about. The reason why I'm not counting the 1st book in that series is because Michael J. Sullivan published the first 3 books with Del Rey, which is a much bigger publisher, and then he decided to switch to self-pub 4th book onwards. So this is the first one in this series that he has self-published. Since the Book Bingo lasts a whole year, I'll probably get to the 4th book by the end of the whole thing. So I don't think that's too unrealistic. And I can only count 1 book from an author per thing anyway, so, you know, this counts. Definitely does not have fewer than 50 ratings on Goodreads, though, let me tell you. But that's fine. Third row, 2nd prompt is a novel with chapter epigraphs. Hard mode is that it is original to the novel and not a quotation from another source. For this, I plan to read Honky Boy, Way of Kings by Brandon Sanderson. It counts for hard mode because it has little quotes and things from the world in here, so yay, that counts. I won't be reading this edition though, and God no, I'm getting a regular paperback to read. This is too chunky, short, and hard. I don't know what that's about either, don't know what anything's about. Third row, 3rd prompt, a novel that is published in 2020. Hard mode is that it also has to be a debut novel. The one I plan to read for this one is The Southern Book Club's Guide to Slaying Vampires by Grady Hendrix. I have not read anything by Grady Hendrix before, but it seems like they're pretty popular, and it seems like the writing style seems nice to me, and this title seems really silly, so I'm kind of curious about it, and I want to read this. Sounds like a lot of fun. Yeah, definitely does not count for debut novel, but that's okay. I'm not going for all hard modes anyway. Third row, fourth prompt is a novel that is set in a school or university. Hard mode is that it is not Harry Potter or the Magicians. For this one, I plan to read The Irregular at Magic High School, Volume 1 by Tsutomu Sato. I mean, high school is in the title, so they're going to a magic high school and shenanigans. This is a light novel series. I've watched the anime and I really like that, so I also wanted an excuse to start reading the light novel series, so yay. Third row, fifth prompt, a book about books. Hard mode is that it does not feature a library. The book I plan to read for this is Ascendance of a Bookworm, Part 2, Volume 3 by Miya Kazuki. It does not count for hard mode because there's a library in there, but it definitely centers around books. The main character is trying to read and get books in whatever way possible. This series is kind of funny because the first 2 or 3 novels don't feature a library, but unfortunately this one is the 5th volume, and from the 4th onwards there's a library, so what can I say? Doesn't count for hard mode, but whatever. I'm gonna be reading this anyway in April, and I'm excited for that. Fourth row, first prompt, a book that made you laugh. Hard mode is Not Something by Terry Pratchett. For this one, I plan to read Jonathan Strange and Mr. Norrell by Susanna Clarke. This is definitely more of a dry humor because it's set in a historical place and you have to be all prim and proper and whatever. But I've definitely laughed a few times reading this so far, so it's probably not for everybody kind of thing, but I'm certainly enjoying it and I'm certainly laughing at it, so I'm counting that for this. It's also another really big hunker. Jeez. Fourth row, second prompt, is 5 SFF short stories. Hard mode is to read an entire SFF anthology or collection. I've had bad luck with this prompt. It comes up almost every year, if not every year, and I have yet to find a nice collection that I've enjoyed. But for this one, I plan to read Heroes Wanted, a fantasy anthology by a whole bunch of people, and hopefully that works out okay. We'll see. I will either read 5 of the stories and give up there, or I'll read the whole anthology and hope I enjoy it. But if I don't like it, this will be the 3rd time that I've come across this prompt and haven't liked the anthology I read, so I'm hoping for the better. Fourth row, third prompt is a big dumb object. Hard mode is the classic golden age of science fiction definition of big dumb object. Dyson spheres, alien spaceships, a big thing that appears with no explanation. So I don't know if it counts as hard mode or not, but I'm planning to read Sufficiently Advanced Magic by Andrew Rowe. I don't know too much about this other than self-pub, and it sounded kind of interesting when I read it, but I think it has a really big tower that's kind of mysterious, so that might count for hard mode, because it is a physical object. I don't know. This prompt was the most difficult for me to understand the meaning of, so we'll see how Sufficiently Advanced Magic goes. A fourth row, fourth prompt, a feminist novel. Hard mode is that it is a feminine novel by a woman of color. So I didn't have anything that fit for this in my collection, but I looked up a few suggestions from the subreddit, and I haven't sampled anything yet, so I haven't narrowed it down to my most excited one, really. But I might look at reading The Calculating Stars by Mary Robinette Cowell, The Winged Histories by Sophia Samatar, and then I also wrote down A Natural History of Dragons by Mary Benar. I think I'm the most interested in A Natural History of Dragons, but I haven't sampled any 3 of them, so I don't know if the writing style will work or not. So, don't know what I'll read for that, but I'll see soon enough. So, the fourth row, fifth prompt is a novel by a Canadian author. And hard mode is that the book has to be from a Canadian small press or a self-published Canadian author. So for this one, despite Being a Canadian myself, I don't have anything like this in my collection. I don't think there's too many big Canadian SFF authors, so I'm just going off of some suggestions again from the Reddit. I didn't really find too many that I was super interested in from their suggestions, so I might have to do a little bit more digging, but the two that I saw that might be okay are That Inevitable Victorian Thing by E.K. Johnston, and the other one is Zareth Law by Jurek Hache? That one's a self-published one too, so that would count for hard mode. Alright, we're down to the last 5 prompts. The 5th row, first prompt, a novel with a number in the title. And the hard mode also features a color in the title. The book that I'm planning to read for this one is The 10,000 Doors of January by Alex E. Harrow. I don't remember what this is about, but it definitely has a number in the title, 10,000. Yeah, and I've heard a lot of good things about this, so hopefully I really like it too. 5th row, second prompt, a romantic fantasy or a paranormal romance. And the hard mode is read and participate in the HEA Book Club pick, which is a romance-focused book club on r/fantasy. This one is easily the prompt that I'm the least excited for. I don't like romance in a fantasy, at least so far. I don't tend to enjoy romance in general. I've enjoyed what I've read so far of Sense and Sensibility, but that's about it right now. Usually I find them a bit too cringy, or I want them to stop, or maybe they're fine enough, but I don't really care for the romance if it was not there. So I just basically wrote down a whole bunch of stuff from the suggestions in the Reddit, and I have no idea if I'll like any of them, so I might just end up going for whatever's shortest, or I might substitute this particular square in the end. I don't know, but I want to give it a shot first. What I wrote down was Snowspelled by Stephanie Burgess, Queen of Coin and Whispers by Helen Curran, Shades of Milk and Honey by Mary Robinette Curl. I should really try and write a little better. And that one in particular, they claim it's a mix between Pride and Prejudice and Jonathan Strange, so that might be a good one to go for. This Is How You Lose a Time War by Amal El-Motar and Alex Gladstone, which is really popular on BookTube, but it's a novella, so I don't know. The Cybernetic Tea Shop by Meredith Katz, also a novella, and Miranda in Milan by Catherine Duckett, which sounds interesting, but it's a retelling of a Shakespeare play that I haven't read, so I'm not sure about that one. So of those, I think I'm most interested in Shades of Milk and Honey, but I really need to like the writing style and hope that the romance is not cringy as all heck, so yeah, we'll see how that one goes. 5th row, third prompt is a novel with a magical pet. Hard mode is that the magical pet can also speak. For this one, I plan to read Hexed by Kevin Hearn, the second book in the Iron Druid series. The main character has a dog that I think just talks to him, I don't know, but he definitely has a magical dog that can talk to him in some capacity. So yeah, this one definitely counts for hard mode. Yay! And this is definitely a comedic series, and I want to continue in the series anyway, so it's a good excuse to shove this in the bingo. 5th row, fourth prompt is a format prompt, and that is either a graphic novel, at least 1 volume's worth, or an audiobook/audio drama. And hard mode is if you read a graphic novel, that it has to be a standalone graphic novel, and if you read an audiobook/audio drama, it has to be over 25 hours long. I do read a lot of manga and some graphic novels, but I don't really have a lot of SFF standalones. But I do have Ode to Kirihito by Osamu Tezuka, which is kind of a horror SFF kind of thing. There's these this disease that makes people have dog faces or whatever, so I think it counts for that. I'm not really too excited about this one, so I'm thinking I could possibly DNF this. And if I do, I'll probably just look up on Hoopla something that's a standalone and just read that. This is a pretty easy prompt for me, so I'm not too worried about it. And finally, the last prompt, a novel that features politics. Hard mode is that it does not feature royalty. The book I plan to read for this, How a Realist Hero Rebuilt the Kingdom, Volume 1 by Dojo Maru. This is all about a guy that comes to a new kingdom and tries to reform it, reform its policies and economics type thing, from what I understand. So I'm pretty sure this counts. It does not count for hard mode for sure. But, I'm really excited to read this. I don't care if it doesn't count for hard mode, I'm reading it anyway. Yeah. So those are all the prompts, and those are all the books that I may or may not read. I'll probably do an update video somewhere in the halfway point. If you want to join yourself, feel free to do so. I'll leave a link to all the details and stuff in the description. You have plenty of time right now because it started April 1st and it goes until March 31st of next year. You have a whole year for 25 books, and I think it's a pretty fun book readathon type thing. So I'm really excited to read some of these books for the prompt. So let me know in the comments below if you're considering taking part in this readathon, or if you've read any of these books and your thoughts on them. I'd like to hear them. If you also have any recommendations for romance SFF novels that don't have really cringy romance, but that would be good too. But anyway, thank you so much for watching, and I hope to see you again in another video. Bye!